A division order just arrived in your mailbox. Your operator says, "Sign here and we will start sending your royalty checks." Here is what that document is actually asking you to agree to. A single decimal number used to calculate your share of oil and gas production revenue. If that number is wrong, your royalty payments could be lower than they should be until the issue is caught and corrected. And that process starts with you knowing what to look for. I am going to show you how to verify that number yourself in under 10 minutes. And I'm going to show you 3 lease provisions that could be affecting your check right now and that most mineral owners never read. Let's get into it. Quick note before we dive in. If you recently inherited land in Texas, or you own mineral rights in an oil and gas producing area, and you have received a division order, lease offer, or any communication about your minerals, this video is for you. Everything I am about to show you applies directly to paperwork you may already have in hand, especially if you are reviewing a division order, royalty statement, lease, or well information for the first time. Let's start with what a division order actually is. A division order is a legal document you sign when a new well begins producing. It instructs the operator or purchaser on how much of the revenue to send to each interest owner and establishes the terms under which payments are made. The most critical number on that document is your decimal interest. Sometimes it is also called your net revenue interest or owner decimal. It is expressed as a decimal, like 0.001250 or 0.025000. Here are the stakes. On a well generating $100,000 a month, a decimal of 0.015625 would represent $1,562.50 before applicable taxes and deductions. But if the division order showed roughly half of that, 0.0078125, that would represent about $781.25. That difference is $781.25 in just 1 month. That is $9,375 in a year. Over a simplified 20-year illustration, that is $187,500. A decimal discrepancy of that size, whether from a data entry mistake, a title issue, or a unit boundary question, is worth catching before you sign. Here is the formula every mineral owner should know. This is the base calculation. It uses 3 pieces of information you may already have or that may be found in your deed, lease, or unit documents. Decimal interest equals net mineral acres divided by total acres in the production unit multiplied by your lease royalty rate. Let's run through it. You own 40 net mineral acres. The well is drilled in a 640-acre spacing unit. Your lease royalty rate is 25%. Step 1. 40 divided by 640 equals 0.0625. Step 2. 0.0625 multiplied by 0.25 equals 0.015625. That is your decimal interest under this basic formula. If your division order shows 0.015625, the decimal lines up with this basic formula for this example. But the decimal is only one part of the document. Before signing, also review your name, address, tax information, legal description of the tract, lease reference, unit reference, operator or payor details, and any terms in the division order that could interact with your original lease. If anything looks off, pause before signing, ask for the calculation in writing, and consider having the document reviewed. If the division order shows 0.007813, roughly half of 0.015625, that is a figure worth questioning. Contact the operator or payor in writing and ask how the decimal was calculated. One more thing on the formula. Allocation wells, pooling agreements, NPRI interests, and tract participation can all affect this calculation in ways the base formula may not show. This formula is where you start, not necessarily where the full answer ends. If you are in Texas and want to better understand the oil and gas activity connected to your property, create a free MineralView account using the link in the description. You can explore the activity around your minerals and start understanding what the paperwork in your hand actually means. Before we move to the lease provisions, I want to hear from you. Have you ever spotted a discrepancy on a division order or seen a line item on a royalty statement that did not match what you expected? Drop your experience in the comments. I read all of them, and what you share may help another mineral owner who is watching this for the first time. Here is what most mineral owners never look at closely in their lease. You verified your decimal. Good. But here is what a lot of mineral owners do not realize. Depending on how your lease is written, 3 provisions can reduce the royalty amount that actually hits your bank account. Your oil or gas is produced at the wellhead, but it often has to travel through pipelines, gathering systems, or other facilities before it reaches a buyer or market. That movement has a cost. In some cases, those costs are passed through to royalty owners as a deduction, taken off the revenue base before your royalty percentage is applied. For example, at $1.50 per barrel on a well producing 5,000 barrels a month, that's $7,500 coming off the revenue base before royalties are calculated.
Whether transportation costs can be deducted from your royalty
depends on how your lease defines the point of valuation and what your royalty clause says. If your lease uses at-the-well language, post-production costs may be allowable.
If your lease has strong gross proceeds, point of sale, or no post-production cost language, you may have more protection. But one phrase alone does not settle it. The full royalty clause and any addendum control. Read it carefully or have a qualified oil and gas attorney review it with you. Some lease structures allow operators to deduct a marketing or handling fee, usually taken from the revenue before royalties are calculated. This may be a percentage-based charge. For example, on a $100,000 a month well, a 3% marketing fee would reduce the revenue base by $3,000 for that month. Over a full year, that could mean $36,000 deducted from the revenue base before royalties are calculated. Whether this applies to you comes down to whether your lease language permits it. Check your royalty clause, any exhibit, and any addendum attached to your original lease. This one is especially significant for gas wells. When reservoir pressure drops, gas may require compression equipment to move it through the pipeline. Processing may also be needed to remove natural gas liquids before sale. In some cases, compression and processing costs can represent a meaningful share of your gross gas revenue. The exact amount varies by well, contract, region, and lease language. As with transportation, whether an operator can pass these costs through to royalty owners depends on the specific language in your original lease. This is one of the most important provisions to understand before you sign any lease or division order. 3 provisions, each one depends on your lease language, not a general rule. The division order is not the place to rush. Verify the decimal formula, review the full document, not just the number. Compare it line by line against your original lease, and if anything does not add up, pause before signing, contact the operator or payer in writing, and ask for clarification. If the figures appear incorrect after review, request a corrected division order. You have the right to ask those questions. But here is the harder truth. If your decimal is right and your deduction language is documented, but your original lease had unfavorable clauses from the beginning, you may still be receiving less than you expected every month. The 3 provisions I just showed you are usually controlled by what was signed on day 1. That is what the next video covers. I am going to walk you through the lease clauses that cost mineral owners the most and what to look for before you ever sign. If this video helped you understand your division order, subscribe to MineralView for more practical mineral owner education. And if you want to better understand the activity connected to your own Texas minerals, create a free MineralView account using the link in the description. I will see you in the next video.